At some point, we've all been caught in the loop of constant program hopping and starting plans, overly excited, going too hard, too fast, and then just burning out. Something that seems more and more common nowadays, which is why I call it fitness ADHD. Of course, experimenting and trying new things occasionally is okay. However, allowing fitness ADHD to govern the way you train never leads to any significant and sustainable progress. Instead, it keeps you weak, out of shape, and incapable of achieving any serious fitness goal. Living in an age with an overabundance of options and information makes it hard to commit to one approach long enough. On one hand, you have flashy solutions with overpromising results. On the other hand, you have overly complex and advanced approaches which might have some merit but are not practical for most adult people with a job and a family. And finally, you also have a mix of these two, which is usually what great fitness marketeers do really well. So well that we just can't help ourselves from getting baited by their shiny hooks, especially when we're desperate for results. The first problem with such trends and overly complex approaches is that we rarely have the bandwidth and resources to keep up with them. Either we're talking about enough time, energy, and/or the necessary skills and experience. Sure, we might grit our teeth and push through them temporarily, but eventually we crash and burn. The second downside, and in my opinion the biggest one, is that they make the important stuff seem too mundane and too simple to actually be the solution, even though on some level we know that this is just our mind looking for excuses to self-sabotage. Despite all this, we keep looking for the next shiny new hack, which also makes sense from an evolutionary perspective since we are wired to seek novelty. So what I'm trying to get at by probably overanalyzing and talking too much is that if your feed is full of flashy and extreme fitness advice and yet you can't even do 15 clean and smooth pull-ups or run a 5K effortlessly, then you might want to rethink things. By the way, if you're interested in a plan that will also help you slay your diet ADHD and put your nutrition on autopilot, make sure you subscribe to our Busy Dad newsletter to get our 5-day nutrition course. In this course, we help you tackle all the common nutrition obstacles you face as a busy dad. It's completely free and it just takes a minute, so go get that done right now and come back to keep watching. The truth is that if you want to transform your body, increase your energy levels, and feel amazing in your skin, you don't need to compete in Spartan races, start your day with cold plunges and saunas, and use uber expensive gadgets and tracking wearables. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars a month on supplements and super expensive gym memberships, or follow a vegan or a carnivore diet, or whatever quirky and extreme thing seems to be the latest trend. Honestly, all you need to get started is a pull-up bar, a set of rings, and a set of dumbbells. After that, the real hack and solution is just meeting yourself where you're at and getting stronger by focusing on the oldest principle that has stood the test of time, which is none other than progressive overload. Now, this is probably where, for most of you, your fitness ADHD has already started to kick in. You're beginning to doze off, consider which next flashy thumbnail you're going to click on. But either you like it or not, the truth is that you don't need extreme or complex solutions for amazing results. So here's some crazy ideas. What if before you consider training like a superhero movie star who wakes up at 4 a.m. in the morning to train hardcore for 2 hours, you instead start with something more balanced. You start, let's say, with going to bed 20 minutes earlier and also waking up 20 minutes prior to your usual time, or you simply skip your morning smartphone doom scroll. This way, you still get enough sleep, but you can also start your day with a decent strength workout, which will boost your mood, which will help you build muscle and help you manage stress better across the day. And of course, if you still feel like you want to train like The Rock and wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning and do a 2-hour hardcore workout, you can do that, but just build your way up there slowly and don't go from 0 to 100 in one day. In the end, if you try to go too strong, too fast, and you just keep making demands of yourself without having the ability to face those demands, you just fall into what we call the ability-demand gap. And when all that happens, when you don't meet yourself where you are and you approach fitness with this all or nothing mindset, you end up feeling guilty for supposedly not being disciplined enough or not wanting it bad enough, as motivational gurus will tell you, when in reality, you're just not meeting yourself where you're at. And when you do all that and you approach fitness with this all or nothing mindset, what you end up with is plain nothing. So to summarize today's video, the truth is that a lack of flashier and more complex information is not most people's problem. Going too hard, too quick only works short term and mostly for men who are still in their early 20s and their bodies can still handle a pointless beating. Sure, starting slow might feel boring in the beginning, which is why sometimes you might need help from people who are more experienced to show you how to keep the basics fun and fresh. But once you move past that, once you stop yourself from going off track and you let go of that social media driven fear of missing out, once you stop thinking that you have to go all in from the very beginning because that's the conditioning you've received growing up in a culture where burnout is worn like a badge of honor, that's when you start making real progress. This is why the long road is the shortcut, but also the heroic and courageous path if you're someone like a busy dad who's balancing work, family, a ton of stressors, and often a lack of sleep in a world where the most advanced technology and advertisement that has ever existed are designed to brainwash, hypnotize, and manipulate you into stressing and eating more while moving less, a world that wants you to be a weak and debilitated overconsumer, a world where people who are responsible adults and at the same time manage to stay strong and healthy have become the outliers. So keep in mind that if you want to be an outlier yourself, you have to constantly cut through the BS and slay your fitness ADHD every time it comes up on the surface. This is not easy, of course, and it requires mindful daily practice, since this is a monster that is kind of like a Lernean Hydra, which for every head you cut, it will grow another 2. Plus, it's just one of the monsters you have to slay every day, and there's a lot more on this topic to unpack, of course. So if today's thought struck home with you, let me know about it in the comment section below, and I'll go a lot deeper on this topic in the coming videos. That was all for today, and until next time, keep on training.